Confidence is not loud. Power does not beg for attention. The strongest people in the room are the ones who mastered themselves. This is the truth about confidence and power. The truth about confidence and power. Confidence is not noise. Power is not posture. The world has lied to you, told you that strength must shout, that authority must dominate, that confidence must be proven again and again in the eyes of others. But the deepest truth is quieter than all of that. Real confidence is an internal agreement. Real power is self-governance. Look closely at history and you will see it. The men and women who changed the direction of the world were not frantic, they were anchored. When Abraham Lincoln walked into rooms filled with enemies and doubters, he did not raise his voice to convince them of his worth. He carried a stillness born from conviction. When Dale Carnegie rose from poverty to command industries, his power did not come from intimidation, but from understanding people, how they think, how they feel, how they are moved. Confidence is not something you put on, it is something you remove everything else to reveal. Most people spend their lives chasing approval like oxygen. They bend their spine to be accepted, dilute their voice to be liked, and trade their authenticity for applause. But every time you ask the world to tell you who you are, you give away your power. Dale Carnegie understood this deeply. He knew that the moment you stop trying to impress, you begin to influence. The moment you stop begging for validation, you become magnetic. Power begins the day you decide your worth is not up for debate. The mind is the first battlefield. Before any victory is visible, a private war is fought in thought. The undisciplined mind leaks confidence. It second-guesses, compares, hesitates. It lives in reaction. But the disciplined mind is deliberate. It chooses beliefs the way a general chooses strategy. It understands that belief is not optimism, it is alignment. When belief aligns with action, confidence stops being fragile. Thomas Edison failed thousands of times, not because he lacked intelligence, but because he possessed an uncommon relationship with failure. Where others saw proof of inadequacy, he saw feedback. That is power. Not the absence of doubt, but mastery over it. Confidence grows when you keep promises to yourself, especially the small ones no one sees. Each act of follow-through is a brick laid in the foundation of self-trust. Clarity sharpens confidence. Confusion erodes it. When you do not know where you are going, every opinion can knock you off course. The world becomes loud and you become scattered. But when your vision is clear, when your values are defined, you move with calm certainty. Walt Disney carried a vision so vivid that ridicule could not dissolve it. People laughed at the mouse. He kept building anyway. Power is the ability to persist without applause. Discipline is confidence in motion. It is the bridge between intention and identity. Anyone can feel motivated for a moment. Power is doing the work when motivation disappears. It is waking up early, practicing restraint, refining skill, and choosing long-term respect over short-term comfort. This is where most people quit, not because the goal is impossible, but because the process is uncomfortable. Gratitude stabilizes power. The ungrateful are always desperate because nothing is ever enough. But gratitude grounds you. It reminds you that confidence is not arrogance, it is appreciation for what you have earned and what you are becoming. When you are grateful, you stop rushing, you stop proving, you stand firm. Adaptability is silent strength. The rigid break, the flexible endure. History does not reward those who cling to old identities when the world shifts. It rewards those who learn, who evolve, who stay curious. Henry Ford revolutionized industry not by resisting change, but by embracing better methods relentlessly. Confidence is not stubbornness, it is the courage to adjust without losing yourself.
Resilience is power refined by pressure. Every setback, every rejection, every season of doubt is an invitation to deepen your roots. Weak confidence collapses under criticism. Strong confidence listens, learns, and continues. You are not here to be understood by everyone. You are here to become undeniable. And here is the truth most never accept. Confidence and power are not destinations. They are practices, daily choices, a way of moving through the world with integrity, self-command, and quiet resolve. When you master yourself, you no longer need to control others. When you trust yourself, you no longer need permission. This is the truth about confidence and power. They were never outside you. They were waiting for you to stop giving them away.
You begin to feel it the moment you stop explaining yourself. When your actions no longer ask for approval, when your silence becomes heavier than other people's words, something shifts inside you. This is where confidence matures. Not loud, not defensive, not reactive, it becomes composed. You start to understand that power is not about winning arguments. It is about choosing which ones are not worth your energy. Most people exhaust themselves trying to be seen. Powerful people focus on becoming solid. They know that presence is built in solitude long before it is felt in public. The hours no one applauds you, the discipline no one posts about, the restraint no one rewards immediately. That is where confidence is forged. Dale Carnegie taught that influence begins with understanding, not dominance. And understanding begins with listening. To others, yes, but more importantly, to yourself. Your intuition sharpens when your ego quiets. Your decisions become cleaner when fear stops voting. Confidence is clarity under pressure. Notice how truly confident people move through chaos. They are not hurried by noise. They are not shaken by opinions. They do not need to announce their strength because it is evident in how they respond. They pause. They think. They act with intention. That pause is power. Fear will visit you. It visits everyone who matters. The difference is not its presence, but your relationship to it. The untrained mind treats fear as a stop sign. The trained mind treats it as a signal that growth is near, that you are standing at the edge of a larger version of yourself. Lincoln carried fear into leadership during the darkest chapter of a nation, yet he did not let fear write the ending. He anchored himself to purpose. Purpose gives confidence weight. Without it, confidence floats and disappears. With it, confidence becomes gravity. You are strongest when you are aligned, when what you think, what you say, and what you do move in the same direction. Hypocrisy fractures power. Integrity concentrates it. This is why self-respect is the root of confidence. If you betray yourself for comfort, the cost is always paid later, with doubt. Learning keeps power alive. The moment you think you have arrived, you begin to decay. The world keeps moving. Industries change. People change. You must stay curious, not desperate, curious. Confidence grows when you know you can adapt, learn, and rebuild if needed. And here's the quiet truth that changes everything. You do not need to dominate life. You need to direct it. Confidence is direction. Power is consistency. When you stop reacting and start choosing, when you stop comparing and start committing, when you stop waiting and start becoming, your presence changes. People feel it before they understand it. Opportunities respond to it. Resistance respects it. This is not about becoming fearless. It is about becoming grounded. And once you are grounded, the world can shake all at once. You will not move. You begin to realize that confidence is not something you add to yourself. It is something you uncover by removing what does not belong. The doubt you inherited, the limits you accepted without question, the voices that spoke louder than your own for too long. Power returns the moment you reclaim authority over your inner world. Most people live fractured lives. They want one thing, fear another, and act in a third direction entirely. This internal conflict drains strength. Confidence, real confidence, is coherence. It is when your thoughts stop sabotaging your actions and your actions start honoring your values. When inner alignment is achieved, outer resistance loses its grip. Look closely at history and you will see this pattern repeated. Edison was not confident because he succeeded. He succeeded because he trusted the process long before the result. Each failure refined him. Each setback clarified his thinking. Confidence grew not from praise, but from persistence. Power followed patience. Confidence also demands restraint. The strongest people are not impulsive. They do not react to every insult, every provocation, every temptation. They understand that energy is finite. They protect it. They deploy it with intention. This is why silence often speaks louder than words, and why composure unsettles those who rely on chaos. There is a discipline to confidence. You wake up when you said you would. You do the work even when motivation disappears. You keep promises to yourself even when no one is watching. Every small act of self-trust compounds. Over time, you no longer question whether you can handle difficulty. You already know. Walt Disney faced ridicule, bankruptcy, and rejection, yet he continued to build in imagination what did not yet exist in reality. That is power, the ability to hold a vision steady while the world doubts it. Confidence is loyalty to your vision under pressure. You will be misunderstood. This is inevitable. When you stop seeking validation, you disrupt expectations. People are comfortable when you play small. Your growth forces them to confront their own hesitation. Do not shrink to ease their discomfort. Power is not cruelty, but it is unapologetic. Gratitude sharpens confidence, not passive gratitude, but grounded appreciation. When you recognize how far you have already come, you stop begging the future for permission to believe in yourself. Gratitude anchors you in strength rather than scarcity. Adaptability preserves power. The rigid break, the flexible endure. Confidence does not cling to one identity or outcome. It evolves, it learns, it rebuilds. Ford did not cling to one method. He refined systems until progress became inevitable. Power grows when ego steps aside for improvement. And then there is resilience, the quiet refusal to quit. Not dramatic, not announced, just consistent. Resilience is confidence in motion. It is the understanding that storms pass, but character remains. That setbacks are temporary, but lessons are permanent. Eventually, you stop asking, "Am I enough?" You start asking, "Am I aligned?" When alignment is achieved, confidence stops being emotional and becomes structural. It holds under pressure. It deepens with time. It does not collapse when circumstances change. This is the truth about confidence and power. They are built, not borrowed, earned, not performed, sustained, not displayed. You were never meant to chase power. You were meant to become it. And once you do, the world does not need convincing. It adjusts. This channel isn't for everyone. It's for those who choose discipline over excuses.